Stop wasting your hard-earned money gambling on packs. Check out my sponsor MMOEXP to buy the absolute cheapest, most reliable MUT coins and use my code Kinny for 5% off your order. Investment time, guys. Team of the year is almost here. That means we're going to be getting a lot of new cards, and that means power-ups might be going up in price for those players that are lucky enough to get cards. I'm going to be talking through my thoughts, my investments that I'm currently making, and hopefully together we can make a lot of coins. What's going on, guys? My name is Kinny. On YouTube, I go by Kinny Games. Welcome back to another video. Today, I'm going to be breaking down 10 investments I'm making into power-ups prior to Team of the Year. This is just a speculation play. Guys, disclaimer, of course, you can very much lose coins on this. Only invest what you're willing to lose. Think of any card that you buy as an investment as coins lost. If it does pay off, obviously that will be great in the future. This is just a part of the game that I enjoy. It's kind of like playing the stock market in a way. You're speculating based on what you think's going to happen, and so you make some small investments here or there that hopefully can pay off down the road. I'm not trying to make a million coins doing this. I'm just trying to buy a few players here and there. So all of these investments, I really haven't bought more than 5 or 6 of each of the card, and I'd recommend you do the same. Guys, don't spend more coins than you're willing to lose. Please just listen to me on that. But now that we have that out of the way, let's get into the first of the 10 investments into power-ups that I'm making prior to Team of the Year. The first card I'm gonna be looking to invest in is left guard Quentin Nelson. Quentin Nelson, always one of the best guards in the game. Of course, he plays for the Colts, which is one of the best offensive lines. He got a most feared card, and of course he got the out of position fullback card, but he hasn't gotten a true left guard card since most feared. So I think because he's one of the best left guards in the game, because he's the most well-known probably offensive lineman in all of the NFL, I'd say he's really might be due for a Team of the Year card. Plus his cards always play super well as a pulling guard. He's just fantastic. His impact blocking is always so good. So his power-up's cheap. I have like 4 or 5 of these since they are under 2,000 coins, and I think he has a really good chance. The next card is at the tight end position, Travis Kelce. His cards have not been that great this year. As one of the best tight ends in all of the NFL, having one of the best seasons of a tight end I think almost ever, he's definitely due for another card, and I think he's due for a good card at this point. We haven't seen much from him so far as Ultimate Team's concerned, but I really could see Team of the Year dropping a really good Travis Kelce card that could be one of the most dominant tight ends in the game as far as like his speed and his route running. Obviously, we all know he's exceptional in the passing game, so because his card's about 3,500 or so at the time of recording this video, I think I have 3 or 4 of them saved up. Nothing big, but I do think Travis Kelce is certainly due. The next card, a little bit of bias here, but Roquan Smith, man. Roquan Smith had a phenomenal year. He truly did. He was like second in tackles for loss. He was a Pro Bowl snub. I think everybody can kind of come to consensus on that one. One of the best linebackers in the game. And even though linebackers aren't that heavily used this year, he is definitely a fan favorite because of how fast he is. We saw his limited card earlier in the year, but he hasn't been touched since that limited card. So not only do I think he's deserving of a Team of the Year card, but also I do think he's due for another card within Madden 21 Ultimate Team. This is a smaller investment. Linebackers, again, because they're not heavily sought after, I don't think it'll pay. I don't think this will spike to like 10 or 15 or 20K by any means, but I do see this going up in price at least a couple thousand. So because it's so cheap, I picked up a couple of them. I think I have 5 or 6 of them in my binder, and it's a very low risk investment because, again, the card's so cheap. The next card on our list is actually Budda Baker. Now, obviously, we all saw Budda Baker get chased down by DK Metcalf, and as crazy as that play was, don't discredit Budda Baker because he really was a phenomenal player this year. He's very Jamal Adams type player, except for he's actually able to play in coverage as well. And I feel like he's very much due for a card. The last card was this Blitz card, which was a really good card, but a 92 overall. At this point, we're at 97 overall. It's just really outdated. So I think he could very much be due, and his power up is still cheap at about 3,000 coins. I think it could be a safe bet to pick up a couple of his cards, especially because the supply is pretty low. There's really not that many power ups on the market for him. So if he does come out with a card, there's a very good chance due to the low supply and high demand of a free safety like him with good speed that it could shoot up in price. Speaking of low supply, our next investment and also a safety is Jamal Adams. Jamal Adams always has really good cards when they do come out. He's always very sought after in the game. So if he ever does get a new card, people want it. Now, we did get an out of position player for him during the Zero Chill promo, but I don't think that really trumps the fact that we haven't had a card for Jamal Adams since his 90 overall drop, because out of position is kind of its own thing. It's kind of separate. So he had a phenomenal year. His name popped up all the time. I know he's a very controversial player, but at the same time, his power up supply is so limited and not very many people have had these, and the price has stayed really above 5 to 10 10K the entire year. So I think that says a lot about the supply and demand of the card. And if he were to get a new card in the games for team of the year, which is definitely a possibility, he was, I think, one of the sack leaders at one point, pause, the price of his power up would definitely shoot up in price. So this is a little bit higher risk of an investment because the initial startup cost is a little bit higher, but if it does pay off, I think this will pay off tenfold as opposed to some of the other investments, which are low risk but lower reward. This is a little higher risk, but I think could be much higher reward. And now a little bit more in between, pretty much medium risk, medium reward, if I had to put it that way. Delvin Cook. Yes, he got overshadowed a little bit by Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara. Those guys are obviously studs, and I wouldn't snub them as well. I would definitely consider them on this list, although they did just get cards, so that's why I don't have them on this list specifically. Delvin Cook had a phenomenal year. I was lucky enough to have him on my fantasy team, so I got to see it firsthand, but there is a little bit more supply of his card, but when he does get cards, they're always really good. They're always really good. They're always very elusive. That's just kind of how Delvin Cook plays. And the last card that we got for him was this 90 overall limited. So again, he's very much due. Price of his card is a little high right now, 5,000. I think if you can find these cards for around 3 to 4K, that's definitely a steal. I've picked up a couple for that price range. You just got to check back every now and then. Different times of the day will yield different prices in the cards. So I definitely think that this is kind of a safe bet. If he does get a card, which he very well could, his price will go up. People will really want him. Delvin Cook is a very good player in the game, and I think he's very much due for a team of the year card. This next one really pains me to say. If you guys are followers of this channel, you know why, but the next card is Davante Adams. Davante Adams is probably the best route runner in the NFL. He had a phenomenal season with a phenomenally good, phenomenally good quarterback throwing to him. He's just incredible to watch, and his highest card right now is what, an 89 overall team of the week that we got week 1 of team of the week. That is just insane. There's no way he doesn't get a card for team of the year. I would bet a lot of money, or in this case, a lot of coins, on the fact that he's going to get a team of the year card. His route running, the route runner archetype, is the most sought after at wide receiver. If and when he does get a card, people will be picking him up. There is no question about it. So because of that, I think it's very much worth the investment. And I hate to say it because he is a Packer, but if you're trying to throw out your bias and just make coins, I think this could be a very safe bet. And the next one is even more painful for me to say. I put these back to back so I could just get them out of the way. Of course, of course. It's Aaron Rodgers. Yes, he has a 94 overall card, but that certainly doesn't mean that he's not due for another one. This card has one of the best releases in the game, which makes people want him all the time. Kind of like Brett Favre when Throne put out the Brett Favre video, how Brett Favre's price shot up. Well, Aaron Rodgers has pretty much the same release as Brett Favre does. So when he gets way better stats than Brett Favre, even though he's an improviser archetype, people will want him because of his release. His power up, I've been picking these off for like 5,000 coins, even though he's at 8,400 right now. I think there's a good chance price will drop and rise and drop and rise. And then if he does get a card, it definitely will shoot up. Trust me, people will want this card. He's almost a lock for MVP at this point. Oh, this is really hard to talk about. He's almost a lock for MVP at this point, and he's got a really good chance for a team of the year card or any sort of NFL honors card if they do that again. Because of the fact that I think he's due for another card in the game, I think it's a pretty good bet that his power up will be a good investment for you, even though deep inside I am dead.
I am dead inside.
And a card that we haven't heard a lot about, unless you watch the EA Madden NFL Twitch streams, Derwin James. And why do I bring up Derwin James? Because of the Derwin James versus the world set. Now his power-up's only 3,000 coins right now, and because of that set that unlocks in the middle of February, we don't know for sure if it's going to give the power-up or not. It doesn't say that it will reward you with the power-up. So if it does not give you the power-up, this could be a great investment. If it does give you the power-up out of that set, then it probably will be a loss because people will be able to create the power-up, and that's going to flood supply. But if it doesn't give you the power up, he's going to get a 97 overall card, and people love Derwin James. We haven't had him much in the game overall throughout this year. We really only have this 89 overall rising star. So I think it's a good bet. He's very much heavily pushed by Madden this year because of their partnership in Derwin James versus the world. I wouldn't buy too many of these, maybe 3, maybe 4, maybe 2. I don't know, just a couple. I only have like 3 of them, I think. But at 3,000 coins, it's a pretty good steal for what's going to be a very good card when his 97 overall gets released, that Derwin James versus the world set. So a lot of risk here, but could be a lot of reward. Don't overdo it on this one. I recommend you be careful on this one, but I do think there's good potential for the price of his card to really go up. If you want to talk about a guy who gets snubbed all the time, and this is going to be my last investment for this video, it's TJ Watt. TJ Watt gets snubbed all the time. For some reason, JJ Watt is always the 99 overall in Madden. JJ Watt's an incredible player, but TJ Watt had a fantastic season. And the last card that we got for him was this 90 overall overall limited, which is now a series redux. There's no way he doesn't get a team of the year card. Of course, I might eat those words, but at 5,600, pick yourself up a couple TJ Watts. I think it's very much worth the investment because when his limited did come out, people really wanted that card as a linebacker because he can pass rush. He's a pass rushing linebacker. No one really likes coverage linebackers except for maybe like Roquan Smith, like I mentioned earlier in the video, but because he's able to rush the quarterback, that makes him an effective linebacker in Madden 21. So if he does get a card, there's a good chance that people will very much want it, and the supply on his power up seems very low, to be honest. So I'd recommend TJ Watts. That's my last recommendation of the video. Guys, these are the 10 power-ups that I'm investing in right now and that you can take a chance on as well. Of course, it comes with risk, so please don't just dive in head first and invest all your coins. This is kind of just a fun mini game that I like to play in Madden 21 of like playing the stock market almost and seeing if your investments can pay off. So let me know if I missed anyone. I'm interested to hear your guys' thoughts. I'm excited for the new promos to come, especially Team of the Year. If you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like rating, subscribe to the channel for more Madden 21 content. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, thanks for stopping by.